beings in all the worlds be happy and free. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Thank you so much for the beautiful, beautiful kirtan. Loving God through song. Loving ourselves, loving all through song. So beautiful. Thank you. What does it mean to surrender? What does it mean to surrender? Most of us think of surrender as something that means you've lost. You tried, you failed, so you surrender. And so it has this real negative component to it. It also has a negative component to it, or rather negative feel to it, because we also think it's very weak. That you tried, you failed, you're not strong enough to keep fighting, and so you surrender. So it has this implication of being both a failure, a loss, and also being weak. Surrender is the opposite. Surrender is the strongest decision we can make. But in order to realize that, we have to first look at the illusion that we live in. So we have to first look at what's the alternative to surrender. So, okay, if you say, I'm not going to surrender, I'm so strong in that illusory concept of strength, meaning I'm going to keep fighting. I'm not going to surrender. So if in your mind you think I'm so strong, I'm not going to surrender. I'm going to keep fighting. If we really look at that, what we realize is I'm already a slave. I am giving up my peace of mind, my spiritual connection, my ability to realize the actual truth, the real truth, in service of some desire, some yearning, some urge, some indoctrinated concept of what I should do or what I should have. I'll give you an example. Let's say I decide that my goal, my calling, what I want, is to be a basketball player for the LA Lakers. Okay? I want the LA Lakers should hire me. Forget it, they don't even have to pay me. I'll play for free. Nonetheless, they should have me on the team and I should be playing ball. Not in the take your grandmother to the court day, but in their actual real games, I should be playing for the LA Lakers. Now, I could practice dribbling and making baskets from morning till night every day. And because of the karmic package that I am in, my particular unique karmic package at this particularly uniquely special intersection of time and space, I am 48, almost 49. I am female. I am about 5'2.5", barely, if I'm standing up very straight. There is no way that no matter how much I practice, no matter what great trainers I get, that on anything other than take your grandmother to the court day, the LA Lakers are going to put me as part of their team. Now, but if I'm attached to that, like that is what I have to achieve. That is the cool thing to do. That's the successful thing to do. I'm going to be miserable. Maybe I practice for a few years, it doesn't work, it doesn't happen. I then have two choices, going back to our question on surrender. Either I surrender. I say, okay, God, not as a failure, not as a loss, but as a pure acceptance of the beauty of my karmic package, despite the fact that it doesn't include playing for the LA Lakers. But being able to accept that beauty of who I am, of what skills I do have, what opportunities I do have, what dharma I have, what purpose I have. Being able to really accept that beauty, being able to accept the beauty of 49 years of experience and joy on planet Earth that doesn't go with getting hired to play for the LA Lakers, but nonetheless is exquisitely beautiful. And so either I choose to surrender, saying, okay, this isn't going to happen, and I embrace with love and gratitude and awareness and acceptance the absolute beauty of the karmic package I'm in, of the laws of the universe, or I don't surrender and I keep fighting. I'm going to make it happen. No, I'm not. I could fight with them all I wanted. I could fight with the NBA all I wanted. I could file discrimination lawsuits that they're discriminating against 5'2", 49-year-old females. I could do whatever I wanted. And there is still no way, again, that on anything short of like a charity day or a carnival day or something that doesn't actually count, that I would be playing for the LA Lakers. So what have I achieved by refusing to surrender? Nothing other than keeping myself from acceptance, from joy, from freedom to actually know who I am, because that refusal to surrender means I'm attached to an illusion. It means on some warped level, I am unable to see why I'm not a perfect fit for the Lakers. It means I'm attached to some illusory way of looking at the world. And so surrendering is actually the decision of strength. Surrendering is the decision that says, oh God, thank you for these 49 years of experience. Thank you for this beautiful experience as a female, as a 5'2" female. Thank you for all of the gifts that I have in this life. And help me understand how to use them in service. It also, refusing to surrender, is depriving myself of actual awareness, an actual truth. Because what it is it is saying to myself, and to the world, of course, but to myself, it says, I am my career. I am my age, my size. I am that particular achievement or that particular title. I am either the successful basketball player or the one who's going to be forced to surrender, but I'll never surrender. And so I've created an identity that has nothing to do with truth, nothing to do with a genderless, ageless, sizeless, abilityless truth. Or rather, you could say a gender-full, age-full, skill-full, right? Because I'm either none of it or I'm all of it. That's the truth of the self. When we speak about the capital S self, the soul, spirit, consciousness, it's infinite. It is the divine. It's both the creator and the creation. It's the simultaneous everythingness and nothingness. And so every time I allow myself to get attached to an identity, it pulls me out of awareness of the truth of who I am. And so surrender says not I'm a failure, not I've lost, but rather I have recognized in my wisdom, my spiritual wisdom, I have recognized the futility of losing my peace, losing my grounding, losing my truth, losing my freedom in this attachment to a particular role, a particular title, a particular outcome. And so the real surrender is the most powerful choice. And surrender does not mean I give up. What surrender says is, oh God, I have tried it my way long enough. I have micromanaged my life with a death grip on myself and on everyone around me long enough. it doesn't work. You cannot micromanage yourself into happiness. Or death grip squeeze yourself or people around you into love, into awakening. You can't squeeze it, you can't micromanage it. The only place any of that exists is in freedom, in expansion. Surrender is expansion. Surrender is the recognition of an intelligence, a wisdom, an experience that is much more than this physical body, and that I am part of. So it's not I'm surrendering to someone else. When we think negatively, you think, oh fine, I surrender. Like you and I are fighting over a cookie. I say, fine, forget it, you can have it. I surrender. I've surrendered to you as a separate being. Either I get the cookie or you get the cookie. Fine, I give up, you have it. We all know this when we have fights with people in our lives. We say, fine, I give up, I surrender. We're still holding a grudge inside. Inside what we're saying is, you're stupid, you're impossible, you're so annoying, you've got such an ego. Fine, forget it. And so surrender has got this, a concept of separateness. I surrender to another. And that sense of giving up. Real surrender. You're not surrendering to a separate individual, you're surrendering to truth, of which you are a part. It's surrendering only your illusion. Surrendering that attachment that says, this illusion, this identity, this attachment is keeping me from living in truth. Therefore, I offer it. Oh God, I've done the micromanagement. I've done the death grip. Doesn't work. Or at least it doesn't work for what I really want. Now you guide me. We were speaking last night about Arjuna being in Lord Krishna's chariot in the war of the Mahabharata. Surrender is when you literally say to God, okay, you drive my chariot. I've done the front seat driving, I've done the back seat driving long enough. There's a beautiful poem that says, as children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because I thought he was my friend. But then, instead of leaving him in peace to work alone, I hung around and tried to help with ways that were my own. At last, I snatched my dreams back and I cried, oh God, how could you be so slow? What could I do, he said. You never did let go. So surrender is to let go into God's hands. To realize I'm being cared for. There is a higher truth than my micromanagement. There is a higher truth than my death grip on an identity or a desire or a plan. So we surrender to truth. And it's the most positive, strong, courage requiring and courage delivering experience. Because yes, it requires courage, but as you do it, it fills you with courage. Because you realize, oh wait, I'm being carried. There's that beautiful parable of the man who's holding on for dear life to the rope. And he hears an angel, and the angel says, let go. He says, I can't let go. If I let go, I'll die. The angel says, well, then just let go with one finger. So he does. Her voice is so sweet. And slowly, slowly, this sweet talking angel convinces him to let go finger by finger, until he's only got one finger now on the rope. And the angel says, let go. He says, now I really can't. Now I will plummet to my death. I have to hold on, otherwise I will fall, I'll die. But the angel convinces him, let go. And with the awareness that he was going to plummet to his death, he lets go. And he doesn't fall. And he looks down and he realizes he's been standing on solid earth the entire time. And I love that parable because that's what so many of our lives are like. We're holding on with this death grip to what we think we need, what we think we have to micromanage, without realizing, oh wait, I'm being held. I'm being carried. It's not up to me to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. It's up to me to let go and realize with faith I'm being held. So that's surrender. Are there questions here? Yes.
So I'm vegetarian.
Wonderful.
And my partner isn't.
Okay.
We live together. Well, not now, because I live here now. But I feel like we get in conflicts a lot because the way he eats. And how do I manage to keep myself calm when he's making chicken or something that bothers me, but I can't go anywhere because
that's your house. Okay. So he said, I'm a vegetarian, but my partner isn't. And they live together. And the conflict of when his partner is cooking meat and it's bothering him and what to do. So, first of all, this problem exists in things more than what we eat. But I'm going to come back to vegetarianism in any case because it's important. But this could be said about, for example, what type of TV we watch. My partner likes to watch, things that are very, very violent, or even things that I feel are bordering on pornography, and that upsets me. Or, it could expand into so many different ways. And here's the dilemma. The dilemma is that we really can't change another human being until and unless they want to be changed. But so many of us in our relationships hold change as an essential stipulation for us to keep loving them. But what we want is not just behavior modification. We actually want someone to change because deep inside them they believe that it's important. And so, for example, if your partner finally, after much fighting, agreed to not eat meat in the house, but nonetheless kept eating meat wherever he went outside, I imagine it would make your living situation a little bit easier, but it wouldn't make you feel better inside because he hasn't actually changed. And when it's something that's as deep as a choice that we make from a moral and spiritual perspective. So it's not just a matter of, how do you wash the dishes? How do you load the dishwasher? How do you make the bed? What type of music we listen to? But actually something that we are deciding from a deep core, values-based place. We want the person to have the same values. And the problem is you cannot give someone an injection of values. You cannot get them to change theirs unless they realize something and automatically change. The best that you can get is behavior modification. But that's not really what we want. We really want them to change on the inside. And you can't do it. And so all you can do in all of these circumstances is live your truth. Live it, embody it. Don't try to shove it down people's throats. I know when I was a teenager and I first became a vegetarian, my friends used to call me a vegetarist because we would go out to eat and they would order some meat-based dish. And as they would eat it, I would say things like, "Ow, Mom, he's eating my foot. Ow, Mom, that's my arm. Ow, ow." And I became utterly impossible in their mind to go anywhere with. I was on sort of a 15-year-old with a soapbox mission. But despite the ardent commitment to my truth, I didn't convert even one person. Not one person gave up eating meat because I would moan and scream and cry when they were, eating a hamburger. They did give up inviting me to go out to dinner with them. But I didn't actually change anybody. And this is where you have to realize, okay, so that's not the right approach. How can I just live my truth in such a way that I become a magnet of truth? People are attracted to the truth as a magnet. And when you have found truth, live it. Exude it. It will attract people. It may not change your partner. And in our relationships, certainly the ones that we choose, not the ones we're born into, but the ones we choose, we absolutely have a right in our own minds and hearts to decide what things we are prepared to live with, to compromise on, and what things we aren't. And that's individual. There's no right answer or wrong answer. But the only thing that doesn't work is to say, okay, I'll have this relationship as long as you change. Because those don't work, sadly. And so when we have this situation, you need to really ask yourself, am I prepared to be in a relationship with someone, not just who eats meat, but someone for whom all of the reasons not to eat meat? It's not like I'm on a diet and my partner isn't on a diet and keeps eating chocolate cake in front of me. Okay, might be annoying, might even border on obnoxious. But there isn't a value and ethic and truth in eating or not eating chocolate cake. He or she may be compassionate to me and refrain from eating it in front of me not to tempt me. But them eating it doesn't have to do with a value or moral core decision. whereas vegetarianism does. And so when it's this type of situation, comes up also with issues with regard to alcoholism, drug addiction, I mean, so many other choices in life, is a relationship with someone for whom all of the moral, ethical, environmental reasons to be a vegetarian not enough? Who actually can make a choice to engage in a behavior that is wreaking such misery upon our planet? Not just on the animal they're eating, but literally on the planet. I mean, animal agriculture, the livestock industry, is, by UN statistics, the single greatest contributor to climate change. So it's not about the individual cow or pig or chicken we're eating. We're talking about world hunger. We're talking about water shortages. We're talking about Amazon rainforest getting deforested to graze the cows who become hamburgers. So before you give up on him entirely, you may want to share this information. So this is then a choice that you have to make. But my suggestion would be, once you make the choice of either I'm in or I'm out, if you choose I'm in, don't keep trying to change him. Because it's not going to make him a vegetarian, and all it's going to do is make you lose the relationship. So if you decide, even if he's not going to change, I'm still in, then be in with an acceptance of the fact that he doesn't hold those moral values. Doesn't mean he's not lovable. I'm sure he must be very lovable. So he may have a lot of other beautiful, wonderful characteristics, and focus on those instead. But first make that conscious decision. And this is true again in all of our relationships. We get to choose what for me is non-negotiable. There isn't a right answer. Each of us gets to choose. But if we decide I'm in, then be all in. And stop trying to change your loved one. If they're engaging in a non-negotiable behavior, you have the freedom to walk out. But to stay in the relationship and keep trying unsuccessfully to change someone, A, doesn't usually work, and B, leads to usually nothing but misery. But you should keep living your truth. And who knows, if not today, if you decide I'm in anyway, maybe a few months down the line, maybe a year down the line, who knows? People sometimes come in when you stop pushing. When you can simply create the space for them to both be who they are, where they are, and also a space for them to make a new, different decision. But that's not because you're forcing it. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Yes, we'll take this as the last question tonight.
My question is, I love spiritual practices, like I love coming to Satsang, whatever time I get, I'm involved in sadhana and seva too. So does that signify that I was spiritual in my past life too? I mean, is there any connection between what I do with past life and
So if I'm spiritual in this life, I love coming to satsang, I love doing spiritual things, does that mean I was spiritual in my past life? I don't know that, but I can tell you that it does mean you'll be spiritual in your next life. And since whatever you were in your past life is unchangeable, because we can't rewind history anyway, let's assume that yes, you were. It's a nice assumption. Surely something from your past life has brought you here. Maybe you were deeply spiritual and this is just yet another expanded evolution of it, another layer that's being peeled back. Maybe you weren't spiritual until very late in your life and you realized what a horrible mistake you had made by not being spiritual. And maybe you prayed to God that in your next birth you should be very spiritual. Who knows? But what matters is that right here, right now, you are deeply spiritual. And that is laying the groundwork for the rest of this life and also for next life. And so keep being spiritual and try to take it as deeply as you can. Because you're already here. For many people, it's about how to come into spirituality, how to choose satsang over the coffee shop, how to choose seva over just earning for myself or feeding myself or another night at the movies, but how to actually choose spiritual service. You're already there. Now the question becomes, what's my next layer? What's the next layer? Who's the I who is spiritual? Who loves coming to satsang? Who is that? Ask yourself that. And who is that if we say I was spiritual in my past birth, who is that from that past birth who's with me now? And who will be with me from now to my next birth when I'm spiritual again? Who is that that's constant? Find her.